Hey everyone, this is Troy. So I want to ask you a question today. Have you ever felt exhausted? Maybe it was a really long work week, or maybe you took on a really long shift, or maybe you had to watch someone else's kids for a long time and it was rough, whatever it might be. Have you ever felt just pure exhaustion? I know I have. I mean, we have 3 little kids right now. I understand what it means to be exhausted. But I want to look at the words of Jesus in Matthew 11:28. These words are simply amazing to me. He says, "Come to me, all who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest." So what's really cool about this verse is that if you look at the literal meaning of the words weary and heavy laden literally mean worked to exhaustion. So we could paraphrase this verse and say, "Come to me, all who are worked to exhaustion, and I will give you rest." And some of us, it's easy to see that we're exhausted. And we might even recognize our own need for rest. But I think a lot of the times we will choose to do anything and everything to try to find rest except for coming to Jesus. But let's look at what he says in the very next verse. He says, "Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls." This is an amazing promise that he makes us. And I know I've been focusing on physical rest, but that's not the only kind of rest that Jesus is talking about. He's talking about rest that involves our whole beings. He actually says, "For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." And when you look at the literal meanings of the words easy and light, you can paraphrase those words to say comfortable and pleasant. And I think a lot of times we don't look at it with that meaning in mind. But when we really look at the kind of rest that Jesus wants us to have, I've got to ask the question, why don't we come to him more often to find that rest? So I'm going to look at 3 specific reasons why we don't come to Jesus for rest. The first one is that it might be a sin that we're dealing with and that we're not willing to let go of. That's keeping us from coming to him. And at first, sin promises to be comfortable to us. It promises to fulfill us. But in the long run, it's so exhausting. Not just physically exhausting sometimes, but also sin exhausts us in our spirit and in our soul. And here's the thing. A lot of times we don't want to let go of it because it's comfortable to us, but God knows that we need comfort. He understands that. And I think that's the very reason that Jesus sent the Holy Spirit to be our comforter. Here's the thing. God knows how to comfort us a whole lot better than we know how to comfort ourselves. And I think that Jesus, one of the reasons he sent the Holy Spirit to be our comforter, and not just our teacher, and not just our guide, but he sent the Holy Spirit to be our comforter because he walked the earth as a human, and he understands that humans need comfort. Jesus understands that we need comfort. He understands that we need rest. And then for others of us, what's stopping us from coming to Jesus to find rest is this sense of accomplishment that we have to live up to. And accomplishment is not always a bad thing, obviously, but at the same time, it can still be exhausting. And what I do a lot of the times is I set up this standard of achievement in my mind, and then I just keep working towards it. And I do everything I can to accomplish whatever it is I'm working toward. But what happens when I'm doing that and I'm not taking the time to wait upon the Lord and to get guidance and direction from him in my work is I end up working at it in my own strength. And I'm not getting my strength from him. But here's what Nehemiah 8:10 says. It's really awesome. It says, "The joy of the Lord is your strength." When we take time to wait on God, to allow the Holy Spirit to fill us with his joy, we're gonna have strength directly from God. And it's not gonna be us relying on our own strength to get things done. And I think part of the reason that joy is a fruit of the Spirit is because God understood that we would need strength. He knew that we would need rest. And then for others of us, the reason we're not coming to Jesus for rest is because we've allowed the worries and the cares of this world to rule over our lives. And the reason we've done that is because we're focused on what's going on around us, and we're not focused on our eternity with Christ. See, Jesus says in John 14, "Do not let your heart be troubled. Believe in God. Believe also in me. In my Father's house are many dwelling places. If it were not so, I would have told you, for I go to prepare a place for you." Jesus is talking about the hope that we have in an eternity with God. And here's the thing, the reason I think we allow worry to rule in our lives sometimes is because we're putting our hope in the things around us, the things that we can have on this earth, instead of putting our hope in the eternal work that Jesus completed on the cross. See, God knew that we would need hope. I think that's why Jesus said, "Don't let your heart be troubled." He knew that we would need hope. He knew that we would need rest. Even when we understand our need for rest, it's so easy for some of us to put off rest as unimportant or unnecessary right now. But I believe that God rested on the seventh day of creation for a reason. And it wasn't because He was tired. He's God. He doesn't get tired. It wasn't because He was exhausted. I believe that God rested on the seventh day of creation for our sake. One, so that we would know it's okay to rest. It's okay. And more than that, it's important. It's necessary. The answer to exhaustion in our bodies and our souls and even our spirits is rest. And we receive that kind of rest by coming to Jesus. And here is what is so amazing about Jesus' promise to us. It's that there's only one requirement. He doesn't say, "Show me all the good works you've done." He doesn't say, "Show me everything you've accomplished." He simply says, "Come and rest."